Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into Simone Smith-Godfrey's visionary framework for South Africa's future. It's a pretty radical reimagining of how a nation can, actually author its own destiny.
The book kicks off with this really powerful diagnosis. The idea is that the nation's fundamental operating system isn't just old, it was built for a completely different purpose. It was designed to extract, to obscure, and to disempower.
So that raises a huge question, right? How do you replace something that foundational? And the book, The Great Trek Reloaded, tries to answer that, not with a few policy tweaks here and there, but with a complete, from-the-ground-up architectural redesign of the state itself. Okay, let's get into this. The author argues that the real root of the problem is something she calls the colonial ledger. So, what exactly is that? Think of it like the economy's source code. It was a system designed from the very beginning to systematically pull wealth out and make that extraction look legitimate. And the book's core argument is that this basic logic, it's still deeply embedded in South Africa's economy today. So, if the old system is totally broken, what's the new one? Well, the author proposes this really radical vision, and it's called sovereign choreography. And this is a huge shift in thinking. It's about moving away from this mode of constantly reacting to problems and instead moving toward actively designing the future, piece by interconnected piece.
Now, this slide is super interesting because it shows the contrast so clearly. On one side, you have traditional policy, which is often siloed, right? Different departments are just managing different crises. Sovereign choreography, on the other hand, is all about an integrated system that deploys national assets with one unified purpose. It's about building brand new systems, not just putting band-aids on old problems.
And this is the crucial point. True sovereignty, in this view, doesn't just come from making declarations or waving a flag. It comes from building and, more importantly, controlling the fundamental systems, the ledgers of power that define who owns what actually has value, and where the money flows. So let's get into the blueprint and see how this actually gets built. I mean, how does this big, abstract idea of architecture become a concrete plan you can actually put into action? It all starts by totally reframing how you see the nation's incredible mineral wealth. So resources like platinum or manganese, they're no longer just things you dig up and sell to the highest bidder on the global market. They become strategic tools that you use to build a whole new domestic economy. And this table just illustrates that change in mindset perfectly. Suddenly, platinum isn't just a metal, it's the anchor for a high-tech hydrogen industry. Manganese isn't just a raw export, it's the foundation for a homegrown battery manufacturing sector. A resource is no longer defined just by its price. It becomes the seed for an entire technological ecosystem. These resources are then activated in these new, specially designed geographic areas called deployment zones. And these aren't just mining sites or industrial parks. You have to think of them as complete self-reinforcing economic systems. It's really a full-circle system. The resource itself funds the education. That education provides the skilled labor for local businesses. Then, those businesses generate profits, which get reinvested right back into the community and its institutions. And the whole thing is tracked transparently so everyone can see it working. So, what's the point of all this fancy architecture? Well, it's not just some theoretical exercise. The whole framework is designed to go after what the author calls the triple killers, the core real-world problems that are crippling the nation right now. And these are the big ones, the massive, high-stakes issues the whole framework is designed to dismantle. The goal isn't just to manage them anymore, it's to build new systems of value that actually make them obsolete. The book points to cases of what it calls procurement sabotage as a perfect symptom of that old extractive system. I mean, when a state-owned company pays hundreds of times the market price for a simple item like knee guards, budgets aren't being deployed for development, they're literally being drained. So the proposed fix is to embed accountability right into the procurement system itself. Imagine contracts with clauses that automatically reinvest a piece of their value back into those deployment zones. And the entire process is tracked on a public dashboard, which would make that kind of extraction almost impossible to hide. So as you can see, this whole framework goes way beyond just economics or industrial policy. At its very heart, it's really about rewriting a national narrative, about moving from passively inheriting a broken system to actively authoring a new one. The author's dedication really reveals the deep, personal, and intergenerational stakes of this whole project. You realize this isn't just a plan, it's a blueprint for a completely new inheritance, one that's sovereign and self-determined.
And this whole vision is incredibly detailed. It's built on 12, yes, 12 distinct architectural pillars. We're talking about everything from sovereign dashboards that track progress in real time to new credential engines for skills, all the way to simulation labs for testing policy and new tech grids to basically rewire the state.
And this quote really captures the core takeaway of the entire framework. It says, a nation's future isn't something that it's just given or something that it inherits from the past. It is something that must be actively, deliberately, and intentionally designed for itself. So, in the end, the book presents this bold, detailed, and honestly pretty provocative blueprint. It doesn't pretend it's going to be easy, but it forces us all to ask a really powerful question about the very nature of national agency in the 21st century. Can a country truly rewrite its own operating system from the ground up?